There is a rhythm older than time, a pulse that beats not in the seconds of a clock, but in the slow, luminous breath of the cosmos. It is the rhythm of the moon, silver guardian of the night, keeper of tides, weaver of dreams. Long before cities scraped the sky and electric lights drowned out the stars, humanity bowed to this celestial dance. The ancients knew something we have forgotten. The moon is not merely a rock suspended in space, but a living symbol, a mirror reflecting the hidden depths of the soul. From the temple priestesses of Isis chanting beneath the full glow of Lunar, to the shamans of the Americas tracking her phases for sacred ceremonies, every culture that has walked this earth has whispered her secrets. The moon was never just a distant spectator. She was a teacher, a guide, a force that shaped the unseen currents of life. Her waxing and waning were not mere astronomical events, but cosmic metaphors, lessons in birth, death, and rebirth. And yet, in our modern age of artificial light and digital distraction, we have severed ourselves from this primordial wisdom. We have forgotten how to listen. But the moon has not forgotten us. She still pulls at the oceans within us, still stirs the subconscious like a slow, magnetic tide. Her phases still echo the cycles of our own lives, our moments of expansion and retreat, of illumination and shadow. To work with the moon is not to engage in superstition, but to remember an ancient dialogue between the human spirit and the cosmos. It is to step into an old current, one that has carried seekers, mystics, and poets for millennia. This is not merely about rituals performed under her light, though those have their power. It is about recognizing that the moon is a key, a cipher to understanding the hidden architecture of reality itself. Her cycles mirror the rhythms of creation, the ebb and flow of energy, the unseen forces that shape our emotions, our creativity, even our destiny. To align with her is to align with a deeper intelligence, one that modern science is only beginning to grasp. So let us begin this journey not as skeptics or blind believers, but as explorers of an ancient mystery. Let us peel back the layers of myth and meaning to uncover the hidden truth about moon rituals, why they were practiced, why they were feared, and why they still hold power today. If these words stir something in you, if you feel the faint echo of an old knowing, then you are already part of this story. The moon has been calling you longer than you realize. If this resonates with you, leave a reflection in the comments below and consider subscribing if you wish to dive deeper into these cosmic truths. The path is long, and the night is full of wonders. To understand the moon is to learn a forgotten dialect, one spoken not in words but in silvery reflections, in the pull of tides, in the quiet expansion and contraction of life itself. Her language is cyclical, symbolic, and deeply embedded in the fabric of existence. She does not declare her truths in bold proclamations but whispers them in phases, in shadows, in the spaces between light and dark. At the heart of all moon rituals lies a single, unifying principle: rhythmic alignment. The ancients did not worship the moon as a distant deity, but recognized her as a cosmic clock, a celestial metronome keeping time with the pulse of creation. Her 28-day cycle mirrors the sacred rhythms found everywhere, from the menstrual cycles of women to the growth patterns of crops, from the hibernation of animals to the rise and fall of civilizations. The moon, in her silent journey across the sky, teaches us that all things move in circles, not lines. That to resist this rhythm is to resist life itself. Every lunar phase carries its own energy, its own hidden lesson. The waxing moon, the growing crescent, is the breath in, the gathering of force. This is the time of sowing, of beginnings, of setting intentions into the fertile dark. The ancients knew this phase as the maiden, the youthful energy of potential, the spark before the flame. Then comes the full moon, the radiant climax, the moment of maximum illumination. Here, what was hidden is revealed. Emotions peak, tides swell, and the veils between worlds grow thin. This is the mother phase, the nourisher, the revealer of truths. It is no accident that cultures across time held their most potent ceremonies under this light harvest festivals, divination rites, sacred unions. The full moon does not merely shine, she exposes. And finally, the waning moon, the slow exhale, the release. As her light retreats, so too must we let go. This is the crone's phase, the wise elder who teaches the art of surrender. It is a time for banishing, for cleansing, for shedding what no longer serves. Just as trees release their leaves in autumn, the waning moon asks us to trust the process of dissolution, knowing that emptiness is only the prelude to renewal. But there is a secret fourth act to this lunar drama, one often overlooked in modern interpretations. The dark moon, the 3 days when she vanishes completely from the sky, is the most mystical phase of all. This is the void, the cosmic womb where all things return before being reborn. In many traditions, this was a time of deep introspection, even fear, for it represented the unknown, the unseen, the realm of spirits and ancestors. To honor the dark moon is to embrace the power of stillness, of surrender, of allowing the self to dissolve into the great mystery before re-emerging, transformed. It is the pause between breaths, the silence between notes, the essential nothingness from which all creation springs. Beyond her phases, the moon serves as the great celestial mirror. She does not generate light, but reflects the sun's radiance, just as the soul reflects divine consciousness. In this way, moon rituals are never merely about external actions, they are about inner alignment. When we charge crystals under her glow, when we whisper prayers to her silver face, when we bathe in her light, or fast under her darkness, we are not simply performing rites. We are engaging in an ancient technology of the soul, one that recalibrates our inner world to match the outer cosmos. The moon, in her eternal dance with the earth and sun, teaches us the most profound truth of all. We are not separate from the universe. We are its living expression. If this exploration stirs something within you, if you feel the resonance of these lunar truths, then you are already remembering what your bones have always known. The moon does not merely orbit the earth, she lives in our dreams, our myths, our oldest stories. She is not just a celestial body, but a living symbol, an archetype woven into the collective unconscious. To understand her mysteries is to step into a mythic realm where goddesses whisper, where wolves howl in primal devotion, where the very fabric of time bends under her silver gaze. In nearly every ancient tradition, the moon is feminine not as a statement of astronomy, but as a recognition of her essence. She is Isis veiled in night, Selene riding her chariot across the stars, Chang'e floating in her lonely lunar palace. She is Hecate, torch-bearing guide at the crossroads, Artemis wild and untamed in the forest, Lilith, the exiled first woman who refused to bow. These goddesses are not mere legends, they are facets of a deeper truth. The moon represents the eternal feminine principle, intuitive, cyclical, fluid, and fiercely transformative. She is the keeper of mysteries, the one who illuminates the shadow, the midwife of rebirth. In a world that has long worshipped the linear, solar, and masculine, her return to cultural consciousness is no accident. She is the balancing force, the reminder that power is not only in assertion but in receptivity, not only in light but in the wisdom of darkness. Why does the full moon stir something feral in us? Why do legends of werewolves, lunacy, and heightened emotions cling to her brightest phase? The werewolf myth is not mere superstition, it is a metaphor for transformation. Under the full moon's light, the beast within awakens. Not necessarily a monster, but the raw, unfiltered self, the instincts, the passions, the parts of us that civilization has tried to suppress. The ancients feared this power because they respected it. They knew the full moon was a time when the boundaries between human and animal, between sanity and ecstasy, between the conscious and subconscious, grew thin. Modern psychology calls this the shadow self. The mystics called it the wild soul. Moon rituals, then, are not about controlling this energy, but about honoring it, about letting the wolf howl in a sacred way, rather than letting it tear at the doors of our repression. In esoteric traditions, the moon governs the subconscious, the astral body, and the liquid light of the soul. She is linked to the serpent not as a symbol of evil, but as the kundalini force, the coiled energy at the base of the spine that rises with spiritual awakening. The crescent moon crowns ancient depictions of deities, from the Egyptian Thoth to the Mesopotamian Sin, symbolizing the illuminated mind born from the marriage of lunar intuition and solar logic. In alchemy, the moon is silver, the metal of mirrors, of reflection, of the fluid psyche. To work with her is to engage in inner alchemy, to distill the raw, emotional waters of the soul into the pure silver of wisdom. Before lunacy was a diagnosis, it was a sacred state. The Oracle of Delphi drank from the moon-ruled spring Cassotis to enter her trances. The Norse cider priestesses and the Greek Pythias channeled prophecies in lunar-timed rites. Even the word lunatic comes from lunar, because the mad were once seen as touched by the divine. The modern world has pathologized what was once considered moon-gifted vision. But in the old ways, to be mad was sometimes to be initiated to see beyond the veil, to hear the whispers of the unseen. Moon rituals, when done with reverence, can reopen this channel not to lose oneself, but to remember the parts of ourselves that rationalism has erased. In many traditions, the dead travel by moonlight. The Hecate's supper of ancient Greece was left at crossroads under the dark moon to feed wandering spirits. The Dia de los Muertos in Mexico aligns with lunar cycles, when the veil between worlds is thin. The moon, in her cyclical death and rebirth, is the ultimate psychopomp, the guide of souls, the one who knows the way between realms. This is why moon rituals often involve ancestor work, dream incubation, and astral journeying. She is the bridge between the living and the dead, between memory and the present moment. To honor her is to acknowledge that we, too, are travelers shedding skins, dying and resurrecting in small ways with every cycle. The moon's myths are not just stories, they are living codes, waiting to be reactivated in those who still listen. If these symbols speak to you, if you feel the stirring of an old memory when you gaze at her face, then you are already part of this ancient conversation. The moon's magic was never meant to be locked away in ancient temples or dusty grimoires. Her rhythms are written into our biology, our emotions, our very DNA. To ignore her cycles is to swim against an invisible current that has guided life for millennia. But how do we translate this celestial poetry into our daily existence? How do we move beyond theory and let the moon's wisdom reshape our modern lives? We live in a world enslaved by the artificial tick of clocks, by schedules that demand linear productivity at all costs. But the body remembers what the mind has forgotten, that we are not machines, but living organisms designed to ebb and flow. The first step in lunar integration is simple yet radical. Start noticing. Keep a moon journal. Track her phases alongside your energy levels, your dreams, your creative surges and emotional tides. You'll begin to see patterns, the waxing moon's surge of motivation, the full moon's emotional crescendo, the waning moon's need for release. This isn't mysticism, it's applied biorhythmic science, the same wisdom that farmers use to plant crops and fishermen use to predict tides. You need no elaborate tools or arcane incantations to work with lunar energy. The most powerful rituals are often the simplest. New moon. Sit in darkness with a single candle. Write what you wish to birth in this cycle, not just goals, but soul, deep intentions. Burn the paper, letting the smoke carry your prayers upward. Waxing moon. Charge a glass of water in her growing light. Drink it at dawn, imagining her silver energy fueling your endeavors. Full moon. Bathe in her light, even through a window. Speak aloud what needs to be released. Habits, fears, outdated stories. Let her luminosity expose hidden truths. Waning moon. Cleanse your space with sound. A bell, a singing bowl. Physically discard clutter, mirroring the inner release. These acts are not mere ceremony, they are psychic technology, using symbolic action to reprogram the subconscious. Imagine structuring your work life not against natural rhythms, but with them. New to waxing moon. Launch projects, pitch ideas, plant seeds of future endeavors. Full moon. Present completed work. Have crucial conversations when truths rise to the surface. Waning moon. Edit, refine, eliminate unnecessary elements from your work. Dark moon. Rest, reflect, strategize in the fertile void. This isn't woo-woo, it's peak performance timing. Studies on biorhythms and sleep cycles confirm we have natural productivity, peaks and valleys. The moon simply gives us a macrocosmic template. Relationships have their own lunar phases, periods of bright connection, times of necessary distance, moments of deep transformation. Track your emotional exchanges with partners during different moon phases. You may notice, full moons intensify relationships, passion flares, but so do conflicts. Use this energy for honest communication rather than destructive drama. New moons are ideal for fresh starts, forgiveness ceremonies, renewed commitments. Waning moons help release toxic connections with grace. Your dream world is the moon's native language. Place a moonstone or silver object under your pillow during potent lunar phases. Keep a dream journal on your nightstand, and you'll begin receiving guidance in symbolic form, the moon's preferred method of communication. The most profound moon ritual isn't something you do, it's something you become. When you align your breath with her phases, when you let your creativity wax and wane without self-judgment, when you honor your need for both radiance and retreat, you incarnate lunar wisdom. You stop fighting natural law and start flowing as the cosmos intended. The modern world will call this impractical. But what's truly impractical is living out of sync with the very forces that sustain life. The moon doesn't ask for worship just for awareness, for the simple recognition that we are not separate from her dance. We stand now at the threshold between knowing and remembering. The moon's truth was never truly hidden, only forgotten beneath the glare of artificial light and the false urgency of linear time. Her wisdom hums in our marrow, encoded in the same salt water that fills our veins and the oceans. To reclaim lunar consciousness is not to adopt a new belief system, but to awaken an ancient one, to return home to rhythms older than clocks, older than empires, older than language itself. This is not about becoming more spiritual. It is about becoming more human in the oldest sense, a creature of earth and sky, of tide and season, of instinct and intuition. The modern world has conditioned us to fear cycles, to resist natural ebbs and flows, to view rest as laziness and darkness as danger. But the moon teaches a radical truth. There is power in surrender, magic in the unseen, creation in the void. When we align with her phases, we don't just perform rituals, we undergo a quiet revolution. We begin to trust our natural rhythms instead of forcing constant productivity, honor our shadows instead of numbing them with distraction, move through life as a dance rather than a struggle, see time as sacred rather than something to conquer. There's a reason lunar wisdom is resurfacing now. In an age of burnout and digital overload, the moon's return to human awareness mirrors our soul's cry for wholeness. She reminds us that light needs darkness, action needs rest, and progress needs presence. In a world addicted to speed, She offers the revolutionary act of moving at the pace of nature. This isn't escapism, it's evolution. Just as the moon pulls the tides, she's pulling human consciousness back into balance. Those who feel her call are not retreating from reality, but stepping into a deeper reality one, where intuition guides as much as logic, where stillness speaks louder than noise, where the soul's seasons matter as much as the calendars. The moon doesn't need your belief to wield her influence, she moves the oceans regardless. But when you consciously align with her flow, you become co-creator rather than passive observer. You begin to recognize your life's natural cycles of expansion and contraction, navigate challenges with lunar timing, knowing when to push forward and when to retreat. Dream more vividly as your subconscious syncs with cosmic currents. Create from a place of organic inspiration rather than forced effort. This is the hidden gift of moon rituals. They re-enchant your existence. The mundane becomes sacred. A simple walk under moonlight becomes communion. A moment of intentional breathing becomes alchemy. Here lies the deepest mystery. You don't just work with lunar energy. You are lunar energy incarnate. Your body cycles like the tides. Your mind waxes and wanes like her phases. Your spirit, like the moon, has a bright face and a hidden one, both equally divine. The ultimate moon ritual is this: to live as she does, shining without burning out, retreating without disappearing, constantly transforming while remaining eternally yourself. Will you let this wisdom fade like last night's moon? Or will you carry it forward, letting it illuminate your days and deepen your nights? The cosmic conversation continues in the comments below, in your private journal, in the quiet moments when you next gaze at her silver face. If this journey has stirred something in you, share your thoughts below. What lunar truths resonate most? Subscribe for more explorations at the edge of wisdom. Let someone else know the moon is calling them too. For those who choose to remember, the next cycle begins tonight. Look up. Breathe in. The moon has been waiting for you all along. The ritual never ends, it only transforms. As our lunar journey comes full circle, we arrive not at an ending, but at a new beginning, a crescent sliver of understanding glowing on the horizon of your awareness. The moon's greatest lesson is this: all wisdom moves in spirals, returning to us again and again at higher levels of comprehension. What began as curiosity about ancient rituals has perhaps become something more profound, a reorientation of your entire being to cosmic time. This knowledge is not static. Like moonlight shimmering on moving water, lunar wisdom shifts and adapts across generations. The rituals you create today, whether scribbling intentions by smartphone glow or crafting elaborate altars, are every bit as valid as those performed in stone circles millennia ago. What matters is not the form, but the quality of attention, the sacred pause you create between yourself and the infinite. Your personal moon practices will evolve as you do. Some months you may hold elaborate ceremonies. Others, a mere glance at the night sky, will be your ritual. Both are perfect. The moon asks only for awareness, not perfection. Now that you've touched this ancient current, you become part of its transmission. When you honor your need for rest during the dark moon, you challenge grind culture. When you celebrate small victories under the waxing moon, you resist instant gratification. When you release grudges as the moon wanes, you demonstrate sacred detachment. When you stand in full moon radiance unapologetically, you give others permission to shine. This is how traditions stay alive, not through dusty dogma, but through lived experience. Each time you align with lunar energy, you strengthen a collective remembering. Where might this lunar path lead you next? Perhaps to deeper ancestral work, discovering how your bloodline honored the moon, advanced moon magic, working with lunar mansions or eclipse energies, creative projects structured around moon phases, community building, forming moon circles or sharing these teachings, or perhaps simply to a quieter, more cyclical way of being the greatest magic of all. The stars are aligning for those ready to embrace cosmic consciousness. Will this be your moment of awakening? The moon's next cycle begins tonight. What will you create with its energy? The ritual continues in the comments below. Share your revelations, questions, or lunar experiences. This conversation is just beginning. End of comments. As we complete this lunar odyssey, we find ourselves not at an ending, but at the threshold of infinite beginnings. The moon's greatest alchemy is her ability to transform seekers into keepers of time, witnesses to eternity's pulse. What began as intellectual curiosity has perhaps blossomed into something more sacred, a visceral remembering that you are made of the same star stuff that illuminates the night sky. This wisdom now lives in your bones, in your breath, in the way your body instinctively knows when the moon is full, even before you look upward. You've joined the unbroken lineage of lunar dreamers, from cave-dwelling shamans to modern mystics, who understand that true power comes from alignment rather than domination. Your daily life has become the most potent ritual of all. Morning coffee tastes different when sipped with lunar awareness. Creative blocks transform when viewed through phase cycles. Relationships deepen when navigated with tidal wisdom. Life challenges soften when met with cyclical perspective. In a world that prizes constant light, choosing lunar consciousness is revolutionary. By honoring darkness, you reject toxic productivity. By flowing with cycles, you defy linear repression. By trusting intuition, you reclaim stolen wisdom. This is not passive spirituality, it's a quiet uprising of the soul. The coming lunar cycles will amplify synchronicities as your rhythm syncs with cosmic time, deepen manifestations as you learn to plant seeds in fertile darkness, sharpen intuition until you feel moon phases in your bloodstream, transform ordinary moments into sacred encounters. The final secret? There is no final secret. The moon's mysteries unfold in endless layers, revealing themselves when you're ready to receive. Tonight, when you step outside, or simply gaze through your window, know this: you are no longer just observing the moon. The moon is now observing you back, and together you begin the dance anew. If this journey has illuminated your path, share how lunar wisdom has transformed you below. The conversation continues under tonight's moon.